Hey, welcome back to the show. It's Christine Jewell, and today we are in part 3 of an incredibly powerful series that we've been talking about how to reconnect with your spouse, how to be one mind, one soul, one body. We've been talking about how to connect at the spiritual level, what it really takes to build an unshakable marriage. Everything starts in the spiritual realm. We talked about how to connect at the soul level in a healthy way, in a way that honors God. And today we're going to be talking about physical intimacy. I'm going to give you some practical, tactical things that you can put into action this week to start to reignite, fan the flame, of connection, of physical connection inside of your marriage. But here's the thing. As with every strategy, if the heart behind it's not right, it's not going to stick. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some very tactical strategies of how you could start to become more lovers and less roommates, right? So this episode is for you if you've been saying, you know what, our relationship is pretty decent. It's pretty good, but we've just really been lacking in this physical department. There's something that's not clicking. It's disconnected. It's gotten stale. Maybe we're going through the motions. What can I do differently? Okay. I get that all the time. This episode is for you if you want to build a great level of intimacy and you want to honor God's design for your body, for the sacredness of sex, and for sex inside of marriage, which is pleasure is part of that. Enjoying each other is part of that. Multiplying each other is part of that. If you're having a great sex life, if you're having a lot of physical intimacy and physical safety, you're going to feel really safe, really secure, really full inside of your marriage. And that's part of our design. Okay. When that area of physical intimacy is lacking, you're not going to be fully satisfied inside of your relationship because again, that would be out of God's design. Hey, it's Christine. I'm interrupting our program for a minute to ask you a question. Could you use a breakthrough right now? What is the one area of your life that you know that if you had a breakthrough in this one area, if you broke through this wall of resistance, this challenge that you're facing, this mountain, that it would change the game for you in every other area of your life? Listen, if I'm talking to you right now, I want to let you know about a 30-day breakthrough coaching experience that I'm offering up for a limited time. It's where I'm going to work with 3 people very intimately, one-on-one. There's going to be daily touch points, daily action steps, and the opportunity to talk to me directly a couple times a week. And we're going to get to work on that one area of your life that is the domino that's going to knock down every other thing, that is just going to open the door. So here's who it's for. It's for those of you who are ready to roll up your sleeves, get to work. You want to execute at a high level. You want that person in your corner for support to call you out on the blind spots. It's also for those of you who don't want to deal with surface level fixes anymore. You want to get to the root of the problem. We're going to pluck the root out and we are going to clear the path. It might be mental operating systems. It might be spiritual stuff going on. It might be as simple as getting into full decision and getting clear action steps. So if I'm talking to you right now and you are ready for a breakthrough, click on the link below. There's going to be a short application for you to fill out. Once our team receives that, if we think it's a fit, we're going to send you the offer with all the details, the pricing, the investment, and the clear next step. You guys, if the program is full, we'll drop you into the wait list. Again, if it's a fit, we'll let you know when a spot opens up. So if you are ready for a breakthrough in this season of life, click on the link. Fill out the application. I'll see you on the other side. So let's jump in. Before I jump into the frameworks, okay, I'm going to talk about your 3 strategies. But as any strategy comes on the backside of principle, okay, you have to know, why does this matter? Why am I executing it? Because if strategies are not built on foundational principles, they won't be sustainable. You won't be able to commit to it long term. So you need to be in agreement with the foundational principle first so that you can execute from that place. I want to encourage you also, if you missed last week's episode, definitely go back and watch them. But the second half of last week's episode, whether you can watch it on YouTube or listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, all that, Mark and I started to really unpack the importance of really honoring our bodies, the purpose of our bodies, the sacredness of sexuality, and what happens when we start wandering, right? Through fantasies, through porn, through just like dispersing our sexual energy outside of marriage. Really important. Okay. So go back and watch that because that is very important. I'll do a quick recap, but you'll want to go back. All right. So let's talk about the 3 key principles of physical connection. And honestly, I could have picked like 10 things that I work through with my clients, but I wanted to simplify this for you today. Number 1, we must remember and operate on the foundation that our body is a living temple and it's a vessel of God. Our body is a living temple and it's a vessel of God. That means that every physical act, every act of touch, everything we do with our mouth, with our eyes, with our hands, with our feet, either honors God and is in alignment with his systems for what our body is designed for. Sacredness inside of marriage, affection inside of marriage, right? Honoring and respecting ourselves, God, and our spouse in the way we conduct ourselves inside of marriage and also outside in the marketplace or in the world. Every physical act either honors God and is in alignment with the blueprint of heaven, which is a blueprint of multiplication, by the way, the blueprint of life, the blueprint of fullness of life and enjoyment of life, or it's going to align to the blueprint of the world and the world system. And the reality is that the world system promote self-gratification. What's in it for me? I'm lonely. I need to feel better. I just need some relief. I want something. I haven't had something in a long time. I'm just going to go get it. It's about me. It's very much about take or transact, right? I'll give you this if you give me that. There's a lot of obligation. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of manipulation, and it promotes lust and jealousy and trading and prostituting ourselves. I know that's a harsh term, but I used it yesterday in a discovery call with someone. And when I said that, we have to be careful that we don't create situations where we're prostituting ourselves and our spouses inside of marriage and trading for sex, because that's going to leave us feeling dirty, empty, used, sometimes abused, violated, and we won't really understand why, except for we know that did not feel good. I don't want to repeat that. Okay. Number 1, your body is a temple. Okay. God's design for sex, for affection inside of marriage, for physical touch, always will bring unity, will bring us closer together. Yes, it will bring pleasure, not just for one person, but for both, because he created us with all these senses, and it'll create a peace, and a fullness. So if one of us is feeling great and fulfilled and good, my needs are met, and the other person is feeling unsettled, uncomfortable, disconnected, like something was taken from them, it's a loss. Okay. That's the world system much of the time, right? So the reflective point is really, how am I treating my body? How am I treating my spouse's body, right? Do I look at and take care of my body, not just for me, but also for my spouse? And am I also looking at and treating my spouse's body as sacred versus just transactional? It's just something to abuse, something to get by, something to just give us what we need when we need it. This is important because it also, what I'm going to tap into with this is, it's important that if you want to have a great physical relationship with your spouse, you need to honor your temple. That means you need to take care of your body. You have a responsibility to yourself and to your spouse to bring the best physical version of yourself. That means you're eating well. That means you're working out. That means you do pay attention to how you take care of yourself, that you're not just showing up slovenly, slouchy, gluttonous, overeating, not working out, not taking care of yourself, low energy. And then you're going to your spouse to get energy, to get confirmation, to get validation. Way too many marriages are operating like this, where one of us is feeling we're not taking care of ourselves, right? And it's not part of God's design, and it's not right for ourselves. We're not going to have the level of energy to show up, let alone have a desire to have sex, to give of ourselves to the other person, if we're not taking care of our bodies. And we also have an obligation, and I mean that, and maybe that's not, we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves so that our spouse gets a healthy, vibrant, energetic, great looking, quite honestly, version of us. Okay. And I do believe that. So practical examples, obviously be intentional about how you take care of your body, how you look at yourself, how, what environments you bring your body into. Honor your spouse's body with your eyes, your words, your touch, and slow down. Okay. Pay attention to where you're going, how you're talking, how you're moving, like create a little bit of self-awareness around this. Okay. I'm not getting into the practical things too. Number one, your body is sacred. Your spouse's body is sacred. Are you guys treating your bodies really well? Or are you both, we're letting ourselves slide. We're not really working out. We're not eating healthy. I come from the holistic health and performance background. I was a nutritionist in my early days, a trainer back in the day. And I will tell you that when people are working out, especially couples who work out and are regularly active together, they have better sex life. Okay. There are chemical reactions that start happening. There's attraction that starts happening. There's syncing up that starts happening. Couples who don't work out, who don't exercise, who don't eat well, don't sleep well, do not have good sex lives usually. Okay. And I don't have the stats around that to share, but it would seem like common sense. There's a lot of research behind it. Number two principle is that my body is a sensory gateway. It is our bodies, as I said, our vessels, they're sensory gateways created to experience God's goodness, the fullness of everything He created for us. He created sex. He invented touch. He invented hugging. He invented skin to skin contact. He invented like looking at a sunset or going on an adventure together and having all of your systems light up because you're excited about being in an adventure together. So I want you to know that God designed you in all of your senses. And so we don't want to make them evil or wrong, but we want to optimize and highlight, like, how do I turn more of this on? Talking about sight, right? How do I turn my eyes on for my spouse, right? Smell, touch, taste, and sound, right? So again, sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound are senses. And so we are very sensitive beings. And so when you think about physical connection with your spouse, I would encourage you, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but to start to be present, to bring all of yourself into when you're speaking to them, even if you're having a coffee together, you're having a morning walk together, you're there, bring all of yourself there, turn on all of your senses, create awareness. What do I see? And again, if you're seeing the things that you don't like about your spouse, you're criticizing, you're seeing like, okay, look at them, they're rejecting me. We have to redirect what we're focused on. Okay. But we want to really tap into those senses when we're not having sex. And then also, yes, we are intimate with one another. Be all in. Some people are together, but they're mentally absent. They're emotionally somewhere else. You might even be having physical sex but mentally you're fantasizing off somewhere else. You're not present. The body keeps the score. It remembers things. Energy doesn't lie. And so we need to be all in where we're at. Okay. So I'm going to dive more into practical things, but I'm talking about, do you look your spouse in the eye, right? Are you saying, God, let me see what you see in them? What can I see that's beautiful, that's good, that's attractive? Train my eyes to really look at them and into them, not just through them, or look at them just to see what they think about me. Okay. Self-gratification. A lot of couples are doing this. A lot of relationships. When we look at our spouse, we're like, I wonder what he's saying about me. Why are you looking at me like that? What are you thinking about me? It's all we're doing is using our spouse as a mirror. Our spouse is a mirror. Okay. They mirror to us how we're thinking and how we're showing up. But if we're using them as a mirror, it's like we're going to them going, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Am I attractive? Am I worthy? Am I valuable? We're using them to make ourselves feel better. So we need to slow down. Can I notice what's handsome, what's beautiful, what's good about my spouse? And the third thing, so the second principle there is your body is a sensory gateway. God created us to experience the fullness of life. Otherwise, He wouldn't give you all these senses. But are you bringing all of you there when you're with your spouse? Or are you just, again, I'm physically here. I just want to do this thing and get out of here so I feel better. Can you be all in? The third principle here is that physical safety always, always, always comes before physical intimacy. Okay. I talked a lot about this last time. You need to go back and listen to that. But the body keeps the score. If there are past trauma, past betrayals, past rejections, affairs, abuse, either in this marriage or times before, even going back to childhood or whatever, these memories live in our nervous system. Physical intimacy, it begins with the other person and us feeling safe, that we can just be around the other person and we can relax and we don't have to perform or do something to get their approval or to make them love us, or that we're not unconsciously shut down because something in the environment is triggering something from the past. So I want to say this. Something that may have happened in your past may not be your fault. It may not be your spouse's fault. But if we know that there's past trauma and we know that it's still triggering us, then that means that those are areas that need healing. Okay. So it is our responsibility to go through the proper process of healing the past memories. I work with a lot of couples where they've had things happen in the past. Things have been said, things have been done, pain has happened, wounds have happened, and then they try to sweep it under the rug. Don't want to bring it up. Don't want to talk about it. I just want it to go away. And so they kind of avoid it, but the triggers are still there, right? The wounds are still there. And so the body just naturally does what the body's supposed to do. It goes into survival mode. And this is important because I'm not one of those people that prescribes, oh, you got to be healing forever. Some people are addicted to always having to talk about the past and always having to rehash it. This isn't about bringing everything up from the past. It's about understanding how the body is designed. The body is designed for survival, first and foremost. And so if the physical environment doesn't feel safe, the body is going to shut down. Okay. It's going to wall up. Often what I see is exactly those two things. One person gets really defensive, walled up, and it's like a hard brick. You just can't get through them, right? They've got walls up. They're trying to make sure that they're going to be safe. They're going to be okay. Or the opposite happens and they just shut down. It's, woo, where'd you go? Like you disappeared. No energy, no desire to show up. Tired all the time, exhausted, basically unavailable. There's a lot of other responses. But as we look at that, if those are responses that you're getting, probably what you have is some old trauma or some old pain that hasn't been resolved. And so instead of getting mad at each other, which often happens, when are you going to get over this? When are we going to be done with this? When are you going to move on? It's like we get to partner with the other person in the healing, supporting them and having those conversations, and then starting to give the body new memories that, hey, you know what? It's safe to be here. We're not going to put pressure on you to perform. You're loved here. You're wanted here. Okay. And the last thing I want to say here is that it's really important that the body knows first and foremost that I'm safe. I come out of survival mode. Once the body feels safe, it can start to relax and it can actually start to receive and then have the desire to give. I just really want to make sure that I get this before I jump into more practical, tactical things. If you are noticing that your spouse is really defensive, really armored up, really walled up, you can't talk to a wall. Okay. You need to pay attention to that and try to seek to understand what is creating the resistance, what is going on. And so there are some things you can do, like you could create gentle touch, non-sexual touch, right? That is more affectionate, not defensive. You can initiate conversations and do so from a place of curiosity. Hey, what's going on? What's coming up? The work is that you don't get triggered and you don't make it about you, but you give your partner an opportunity to actually talk about, process, and be heard. Because it's amazing when we start to name the things that create the walls start to come down. And then once the wall is down and our partner is out of survival mode or defense mode, now we can actually come together. We can hug, we can kiss, we can make love. We can do so from a different state. But if somebody is entering into a physical act of sex or whatever else, and they're doing it from a state of being walled up, defensive, or shut down, it's going to feel like a violating act. Okay. It's going to feel like something that they have to do out of obligation. It's going to breed resentment, or it's going to feel like a violation that they had to just give something just to pacify the other person. And it's going to be, again, it's going to strengthen those past memories. So we got to be really careful. Okay. Let's talk about practical ways. How do we tie this in? Number one, our bodies are sacred vessels They're called to be honored. So am I bringing the best version of me to the marriage, right? Am I looking good, feeling good, doing the things? Are we doing things together that make our bodies feel alive and feel energized and great? Because it starts there, right? Foreplay starts before you get in the bedroom. So let's talk about number one, practical ways to reconnect. We talked about that. Reestablish honor for the body. Okay. So I want to just ask you, like, even the way that we already talked about number one, how do you show up for yourself, right? Are you working out? You eating clean? Are you guys doing those things together? Are you honoring God with your bodies together? Are you bringing that? Okay. Number two, also, how do we touch each other, right? Am I showing up and honoring my spouse with my touch, or am I grabby and rushed and distracted? Like giving you a hug, but I'm looking all over the place. Or do we not have any touch at all? It's like we don't touch except for when we want to have sex. So we need to understand the art of gentle, respectful touch before we can have more playful touch. A lot of people are like, I want her to flirt with me. I want him to flirt with me. Okay, yes. But again, people who are walled up and defensive and in survival mode don't have access to their flirtatious nature. So safety is that first priority, right? We talked about creating rituals of presence, being physically completely present with our spouse, right? And this kind of goes into one and two together, right? When we're coming and we're being all in with our spouse, it's, I'm looking at you. I'm really hearing you. My ears are turned on. I'm not just here to listen to what you have to say so we can get to the next part, but I actually have a desire to hear you. And this is, again, reflecting our relationship with God. You know, our relationship with God is often communicated as like a marriage, right? Where he's the groom and we're the bride. The body of Christ is the bride. And the question he's always asking is, do I have all of your heart? Do I have all of your heart? Are you 100% loyal to me? Are you faithful to me? The Lord asks the same questions, right? Do you have a desire to know me authentically, to have a relationship with me? Or do you just come to me with a laundry list of demands and needs and then you just rush off? And I'm going to challenge you guys, because often how we're treating our relationship with God is how we're treating our physical relationship with our spouse. God also requires time and space and conversation and presence, not just spiritually, but like all of us, to physically create the space. Same thing in marriage, right? So eye contact, presence, active listening. One of my favorite prayers, I say this all the time, is, Lord, let me see what in him. Let me have desire that is godly desire for him, appetite, sexual appetite, as well as intellectual appetite. Like you start praying different prayers when you see your body as a vessel and you see your spouse's body as a vessel and sex as sacred, right? Slowing down and breathing together. Second thing that's practical is creating an atmosphere for connection to happen. Not, okay, the day's over, jump in bed, do it, move on, and then repeat tomorrow. Some people say, hey, it's helpful to schedule sex. Like sometimes you need to, right? Hey, life is crazy. We have a lot of logistics. Let's have a lunchtime appointment, or let's schedule some time. Let's go away for a night. Let's be intentional about curating a space where we can slow down and actually be present for each other. This is, sometimes you want to get a quickie in. That's cool too. But I'm talking about really having a time and a space where we get to slow down, to bring all of our senses in the room. You might want to create an atmosphere, light candles, turn off devices. And I want to say this is a conversation we need to normalize, because I think a lot of couples, one person is trying to change the game. I'm like, okay, I'm going to shift strategies. I'm going to light candles and run a bath and I'm going to do all this stuff for her. And then she's like, what is going on? Why are you doing that? What do you want? Especially if that hasn't been the norm. So I just want to say, speaking to the guys now, but even to the women, if you feel like, man, I've been trying these new things and they're not responding, my question would be, have you also talked about it? Anytime we're shifting and doing something new, we need to communicate with each other. Hey, I've noticed this hasn't been working for us. We haven't been really intentional in this department. It's something that I really want for us, not just for me. Hey, I need this, so you better make it happen. And I want to be intentional about leading that process. I want to be intentional about creating the space. Guys, I'm speaking to you right now, where you feel safe, where you can relax, where you can just relax and be loved on, be taken care of a little bit. Remember this. guys, this is for you, that the feminine, if you look at God, how he designed us and literally designed our physical bodies and feminine parts and masculine parts, the feminine is designed to receive. The masculine is designed to give. Okay. That's really God's design. Doesn't mean that the woman can't nourish and love on you and give back, but that is how we're created. And so the biggest challenge that often I see when I'm working with couples is somebody's just going. Often the male is going to take, just going to take instead of give, to pour into. And so the woman often feels violated, like he's just coming and taking, and I'm tired already. I have nothing left to give. So remember, the feminine is designed to receive, but she can't receive if she's in survival mode. So your first order of business, if you're a guy listening to this, is to create an atmosphere and a space where she can relax, where she does feel safe. Okay. And you need to communicate that. Actions speak louder than words, but initiate the conversation, right? You can't go from like hot to cold or cold to hot in an instant. Warmth has to be cultivated all the time. And I would just say the second thing to this is develop a practice of intentional touch throughout the day, throughout the week. Give yourself a goal. And I'm speaking to men and women here. Like, I want to make sure that I'm hitting like 5 hugs a day or 10 hugs a day or 2 hugs a day and 20-second hugs. We used to have this rule growing up with the kids in the house that, hey, we had to pause and give each other 20-second hugs. Something starts to happen to our bodies. Oxytocin is released. Feel-good hormones are released. Hormones that draw us closer together when we actually hold each other for a duration of time. And 20-second hugs are super powerful. So do you have a practice of actually being affectionate, of holding hands while you're driving or while you're walking? The feminine is also designed to be pursued, not just in the bedroom, but outside of the bedroom. So men, I would ask you, like, how are you pursuing her? And what is the heart posture behind it? Ladies, men are designed also to receive nourishment from us. And as we speak into him, the question is, are we speaking life into him? Are we building him up with our words? Do we have the energy and the capacity to nourish him, to speak life into him, to be affectionate to him? Those things are like super fuel for the masculine, right? And if we are struggling, if you are in survival mode, if you notice your walls are shut down, not being defensive and not getting upset, but actually being able to speak vulnerably and honestly about where you're at and what you're struggling with, and asking him to come alongside you and being able to clearly articulate what you need. Most men want to show up and give you what you need. It actually fills them up. It gives them a lot of fulfillment to do that. But many of them are guessing, like, oh my gosh, what is it that she wants? Just remember, as it relates to creating an atmosphere for connection, we need to cultivate an atmosphere where connection happens. So be intentional about, when you're in the room together, morning coffees, going for walks, driving in the car, going on date nights. How much of your presence are you bringing to the table before you get to the bedroom? Are you normalizing a conversation around building an atmosphere where you guys feel safe around each other and what you both need to feel safety? And are you creating spaces where you guys can actually slow down and work it out together? Most couples are not scheduling time together daily. They're not setting aside some time to sync up and connect. And the reality is your bodies are like, they're on different frequencies, right? So you come together and it's like 2 radio waves and you're just like bumping and there's like friction. You need time to sync up. That's why Mark and I used to love like the 3-mile loop. We would walk the loop and it would take us like a good mile before our bodies actually got like in sync and in rhythm. We noticed like the first mile, there was a lot of just, I was talking about this, he was talking about that. We were butting heads a little. By the time we were halfway through the walk, we were starting to come together. Sometimes we do this on long drives. We love going on road trips and long drives together. It's actually a great time for us to sync up because we're physically in each other's present, not just going through the motions, not just running errands, but actually intentionally there, talking to each other, holding hands, connecting mentally, spiritually, and at a physical level. And that starts to breed the desire for greater connection. Okay. I already talked about this, but that third strategy was like, be fully present, not just physically there, mentally, emotionally absent. Remember, you guys, foreplay starts in the morning through kindness, through little notes, through gestures, right? When you're together, put the phones down, develop a practice that if we're on date nights or we're having dinner, at family dinner, we don't have our phones out, right? Like the phone is the mistress a lot of the time, or the, whatever the male version of that is. But it's, do we show up, or are we like, okay, I'll give you part of myself, right? Do things with each other, schedule morning walks, morning prayer time, shared activities during the week. Too many couples do not schedule and have rhythms in their schedule for all of these things to actually sync up for non-sexual touch, quality time together, and then also, yes, intimacy. Mark and I are actually going away tomorrow night. So one of the things that we do, because we have a lot of kids and a lot of families here and we're working and there's just a lot of logistics and moving parts, is that we intentionally schedule time. We try to shoot for once a month, definitely every quarter, to get away and like really curate a space where we can just be lovers together, not business partners, not parents, not everything else that we do together, but just to go and date and literally have fun. Okay. This isn't about slapping a date night on the calendar and going through the motions every date night. And then all you do is talk about work and kids and problems. And then you go back and you're like, what's the purpose? It's about curating the time and space to get to know each other again, to look at each other through a fresh lens, right? To be all in with each other and to talk about things that we want to continue to cultivate in our relationships, including sexual intimacy and physical intimacy. Okay. Because I want to end by saying this: sex was God's idea. It was his design, and pleasure while we were having sex is God's idea and God's design. But here's the thing. We chase pleasure. We don't chase God's design, which gives us pleasure. Okay, I'm going to say that again. If you chase pleasure and through self-gratification, if you're just chasing a feeling, you're going to go outside of God's design to get that feeling or that need met. It's going to create greater division, greater walls, greater disconnection. But if you follow God's design for physical intimacy, pleasure, deeper connection, an unshakable bond starts to be formed. And sex does create an incredibly powerful bond. The question is the bond a godly bond, which produces more depth, more richness, more unity at all three levels, or does the bond feel more dysfunctional? Yeah, we're bonded, but it's dysfunctional, right? And we're all tied up with each other and twisted up, but there's all this like misalignment and judgment and shame and fear and all this other stuff. There's a bond there, but it is a dark bond. And so I want to say that sex is a powerful, potent binding agent when we submit it and we commit it under the right system. Okay. I hope this was helpful for you guys. It's a big conversation, but as we come and we start to close out, I just want to remind you guys of a couple things. God designed physical connection, sex, and intimacy as a form of worship. When we have godly sex, when we have sex that is, we're all in for each other, with each other, from a place of honor, from a place of loyalty, devotion. It is an act of worship. It really is. And every time we have an opportunity to engage in affection, we have an opportunity to honor God with that affection. It's just, I think it was when Jesus said, when you give to the poor, it's as if you're giving to me. When you're doing something, when you're serving someone, it's as if you're serving me. That's the way I like to think about it. It's like the way I'm loving my spouse, the way I'm treating my body and where I'm going. It's as I'm doing it for the Lord. So am I doing it in a way that honors, right? And I want to say these last couple of things is that acknowledge that the enemy is real. Okay. The enemy wants to twist physical desire up. It wants to create shame inside of your marriage. It wants to create manipulation, control. It uses past woundings of rejection and pain and misunderstanding, and it starts to twist you guys up. So your thinking gets twisted up, your walls come up, your desire goes away. So we have to realize that there is a real enemy at play. The enemy does not want us to be unified, to have that unshakable bond of unity. The enemy knows that sex and sexual energy and sexual desire is a powerful binding agent, and that if he can just take you away from that, if he can distract you, get you focused on lusting after this person that you saw, or looking at porn, or just disconnecting and saying, you know what, I'm done with that. I don't want to have, anything to do with my spouse on that department. If he can start to erode at that structure, he will start to have little gates and entry points to come into your marriage. And let me tell you this, they start subtle, but those little cracks end up being massive canyons, and way too many divorces end up happening because we've opened up those doors. So we need to be alert and aware that there is an enemy who is after your marriage, and he's going to try to work. He's going to try to bait you in that arena of sex and of touch. So we need to really understand this and reclaim the territory of our bodies, our physical bodies, make some hard decisions about what we're going to engage in and not engage in anymore, how we're going to show up, how we're going to take care of ourselves. And we need to really decide, what is intimacy? What is affection? What is touch for? What is sex for? Let me start to be honorable. Let me start to have sacred sex. Okay. Romans 12:1 says, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and well-pleasing to God. When we honor our bodies and our partner's bodies, we honor God himself. So this week, go back. I just want to invite you to just pick one thing from this episode today. Maybe we're going to start really simple by giving your spouse 8 intentional hugs, or 4 intentional hugs a day that are long, not just little pats and move on, but like pause, really hold your spouse. Let them know, hey, I'm not just touching you. I am holding you. I am supporting you. I am here for you. Maybe you want to, and just do that. Don't say anything else. Just say, hey, I just want you to know, like, I just love you. And I just want you to know that I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm just so grateful that you're in my life, and literally hold them. Just start to see what happens, right? No expectation. Maybe you want to initiate one conversation about, how you guys can grow physical safety, physical connection inside of your marriage. Like, what would be great for both of you, right? And maybe you want to set aside an evening to be fully present, or set aside a time to go away and just have some fun together, right? No distractions, no expectations, just the purpose of it being to reconnect. So you guys, I hope that today's podcast was helpful for you. There's a lot to this subject. It is rich. It is deep. There's a lot of layers to it, and I can't possibly cover it in 36 minutes or 38 minutes. But again, this is why we did this 3-part series, because I want you to know, like, often sex inside of marriage, or the level of intimacy we experience, it really does start at the spiritual root, at what's going on at a soul level, right? At the things that we're giving our attention to mentally. So really encourage you to go back, listen to those 2 episodes. And for those of you who know it's time to go deeper, to do something more inside of your marriage, and you want support, really encourage you to check out Exploring the Breakthrough. You guys can look at the links below in the show notes to see if the breakthrough is right for you. We also have some great self-paced programs to support you. So make sure, if this is speaking to you, you hit subscribe, you listen to it a couple times, and explore what we have here to support you, because you don't have to figure it out alone. All right. Thank you for being here. We will see you guys next time. Bye for now.